Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a follow-up question to the representative from the previous representative regarding if I understood the answer to the question, it's any sex offense if somebody was convicted pre-1998 without being convicted of any other sex crimes, they can apply to get off the sex offender registry. My follow-up question to that is that a guaranteed erasure from the record through you, Mr. Speaker?
Representative Stachman.
No, Mr. Speaker, it's not a guaranteed erasure of the record. The underlying conviction may very well still stand on the record. This just relates to the requirement to register through you.
Representative Lanoue.
Okay, so again, if somebody was not convicted of any other sex crimes, they could still be denied being taken off that list. Did I hear the representative correct? Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Stachman.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, there's separate registration requirements, and in fact, oftentimes as a condition of sentencing or of a plea after 1998, someone has been directed to register and go on the registry for a certain period of time, and this legislation would not affect any conviction after 1998 through you.
Representative Lanoue.
Okay, I thank the representative, Mr. Speaker. However, my question is prior to 1998. Anybody convicted prior to 1998 of any sex offense, if they did not reoffend and they apply to get off the sex offender registry, and they did not reoffend, will they be automatically taken off that registry regardless of what sex offense they committed? Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Stachman.
If they've not offended since 1998, yes, they would be eligible to come off the registry through you.
Representative Lanoue.
Thank you. And again, who are they applying through to get off the registry? Through you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Stachman.
Through you, Mr. Speaker, the registry is maintained through the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection. Through you.
Representative Lanoue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's all I have as far as questions. But let me reiterate what the prior representative said. You know, I'm sitting here listening to this. We have many different pieces of legislation that comes before this body. Reasonable people can disagree. And we have that discussion and we air this thing out. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sitting here listening to this and I'm weighing this out. I'm hearing the word fairness. What's fair, right? Somebody, an individual who sexually assaulted a child, a young kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, whether it was 1998, 1898, 1978, I don't really care. They violated a child. They were convicted in the court of law. They pled that out. And we're saying because there was a technology that wasn't around in 1998, there was no registry. There was the internet was in its very infancy. We're going to take somebody off that list because we're concerned it's unfair to them. Somebody who very violently sexually assaulted and physically assaulted a woman. We're going to remove them from the list because that was before 1998, before it was created. Technology is evolving all the time, all the time. If it happened in the 1980s, you know what? Maybe there wasn't email either. So should we say maybe law enforcement shouldn't communicate regarding these folks via email? Maybe we shouldn't email around the records because that wasn't around. Maybe certain electronic technology wasn't around, so let's not use that either. Mr. Speaker, this is getting ridiculous. This to me. I've been in this chamber now. This is my 5th year, and we're talking about fairness. Let's weigh out the fairness. Let me stipulate. I'll stipulate that it's unfair to the sex offender, to the pedophile, to the child molester, to the rapist. It's unfair to them because they're put on the list during a time they were not, when it didn't exist. That's when they committed their crime. Okay, let's stipulate that that's unfair to them. Now let's talk about who else this is unfair to, right? If you have a convicted child molester moving in next door to you, if I have young children, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, right? I want to be vigilant. Number one, you're always vigilant and keep your eyes open. If I know there's a person that's coming next door to me that was convicted of sexually molesting a child, I could care less what year that is. They have an interest in they have a sexual interest in children, and they're living next door to me. I want to damn well know that they're next door to me, because they could have the best smile in the world. They could look like Mr. Rogers, and you could have Dracula there. I want to know who these people are. I want to know. I got my mother living with me, or if you have a girlfriend or a wife. I want to know if there's a guy living next door to me that violently sexually assaulted a woman. I want to know that. So let's look at the scale here. Be fair to the child molesters and rapists. Be fair to children and women, to protect women. Representative Nuccio had it exactly right. A child that gets sexually assaulted, whether it was in the 1980s before this website was created, you know what? They still got to live with that. They still got to live with what was done to them by a child molester, somebody who sexually assaulted that child. They'll live with that into adulthood. They'll never forget that. They'll never be erased from their mind. The biggest fear we learned from convicted child molesters. One of the things, piece of data I'm very well aware of, what their biggest fear is that they're discovered and that they're caught and people know who they are. That's a big, big fear. We need to know who these people are. I was the lead proponent of a bill to do background checks on people who are convicted to make sure somebody who's worked in a camp setting with children don't violate children. I want to make sure who's living next door to me hasn't violated children, haven't violated women. So, Mr. Speaker, I rise to an extreme opposition to this bill. This is not a Republican issue. This is not a Democrat issue. This is an issue about protecting children, protecting women. I encourage everybody, vote no, vote against this. Be fair to the kids, be fair to the victims, be fair to our women. Vote no in this legislation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.